and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings. Big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo.
We are live!
When it comes to the Kings, that's my favorite show.
Happy Wednesday night.
Good.
Happy Wednesday night. Deuce, Mason, Morgan, Reagan. It's preseason, but we are live after every game. How are we doing tonight?
What up, Deuce?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Morgan.
Hi.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, but what about the Kings?
Let's go, Kings.
I just forgot about something that
What?
we have to play on the podcast tonight. You know what I'm talking about, Morgan. So I'm trying to get this set up.
And only play like 30. Like,
Okay, relax, okay, Miss Producer. Like, I'll play what I want, huh?
oh. Sorry, I didn't know this was you're a podcast. I wonder what like seriously what people go through that have a podcast with other people.
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
think-
you're about to say something really
No,
like snarky.
no, I'm not.
and
I'm
stupid.
waiting to see where you're going with it.
And like they have egos or they disagree on something.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You have a massive ego.
Yeah. Oh my god.
One of the
it's
biggest
so
egos
big.
I've ever had to deal with. No, I don't think. I mean, what podcasts really have that kind of like vibe? I mean, maybe a massive one, but most people doing podcasts are
Yeah.
just doing it for fun. You
Yeah. No, that's true. I just can't imagine working with anyone else. I like working with you.
know? That's nice of
I
you.
was just, like,
I'm
giving-
just a little caught off guard by how nice
Yeah,
you were
like-
in that moment.
You just gave a dirty look to a compliment.
It wasn't a dirty look. It was like a look of, wait, is she talking about working with me?
Yep.
It was kind of a look of shock. How are we doing tonight on Night Chat? Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you have not yet, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed. We passed 13,000 last
we
episode.
did.
It's a big
Thank
moment.
you.
Big moment. And seriously, we appreciate this community as it continues to grow. And we've been really aggressive dropping content a lot. I think every day since camp started, we've been dropping stuff.
Yeah. New little strategy that we are doing where we're like, I mean, we're covering this team. Why not talk about it 24/7? So literally 24/7 on YouTube. There are clips going up. There are podcasts going up. So if you're like, oh, I missed this or I missed that, just make sure you turn on your notifications too.
Yeah, and if you're new to us, we're live after every game. After every Kings game, we are here live reacting to it. And we'll talk some NBA too. We're going to have fun. It's preseason too.
Yeah, we are.
I can't wait for the real thing to start. I'm over it.
Well, it's funny.
I'm over
I
it.
didn't feel this way after game one. And then
Yeah,
after
yeah.
tonight, I'm like, oh.
I was talking to Jason Ross about this earlier. There was a day in which there was 8 preseason games. Could you imagine playing 8 preseason games?
Like, what's the point? What's the point? No. No
Like,
thanks.
it's like one of those things. It's a necessary evil. You know?
Oh, it's absolutely necessary. I mean, you and I were talking about the other day. We're like, look how sloppy and shitty that most of preseason basketball is, watching other teams even. And it's like, you get a lot of that out of the way for the most part, depending
Yes.
on what team you're on.
Well, you're all squared away, right? You're all good to go.
Come on.
Is the chat all good to
I'm
go?
always ready.
Someone, Brett tweeted us, this Night Chat elevator music is making me sleepy. Question. So before the podcast, we usually put up a loading screen so it lets people filter in, and then we play music. Typically, it's lo-fi,
Yeah.
hip-hop. Should we mix it up this year? Is there a different type of vibe we want to have?
Well,
you want to say something now? I mean,
and if people are wondering too, it has to be obviously it can't be copyrighted music, right?
yeah. So all the music we use, we have a website that we subscribe to that allows us to use it on YouTube.
Yeah. So if you, we're getting
Good.
a lot of.
Okay.
It's good. Yeah, I agree. Well, it's definitely my vibe. So every time we come on, like I can listen. I like it, but yeah, just want to make sure you guys like it. We're all a team.
I'm a little festive. I'll play some Halloween tunes before as
I'm
we
a
ramp
little
up.
festive.
We start playing Christmas music.
No.
What, November?
November
here on the pod?
Which by the way, I'm trying to learn Christmas songs on the piano, and it's not going well.
Man. We're having a piano battle. Just wait, next year at our live show. We're in the process of figuring out where we're going to have our live show the day before the playoffs. That's April 19th, by the way.
Yeah, we
And
already have the day.
to be determined.
Well, location pretty much to be determined, but we pretty much know.
Anyway, this show, we don't do live podcasts at these. We do a show, and we will be putting on a show.
And when we say a show, let's just say there are a lot of theatrical people within my family as well. That just really know how to put on a live performance.
Yeah, I think there's just too many times, and I've seen it nationally. People go do a live podcast, and it's the people who are doing the podcast, and they sit and they're just not comfortable in front of a live audience, and they're just sitting there doing their pod. Like,
they'll take questions or something, and it's gotta entertain.
A mix. Hey, special guest. Here's a little dance number. Here's a skit. Here's a piano thing. Shut up and light the beat.
Here's a yep, good.
Here's a choir.
No, I like.
Yeah, maybe some burlesque. I'll do some burlesque.
Kids are invited, so.
Yeah. If you have not yet hit the thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed as well. I have a question.
Oh.
We should just start the show, and it's kind of started. Should I play that thing now or wait till later in the podcast? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, I say do whatever pleases you. I say do it later.
Do it later.
Yeah.
Okay, coming up later in the show, let me give you a little teaser. Morgan's parents did a spoof of our podcast.
Well, it's a spoof, but it's a
roast.
Well, that's what it is. It's basically like they critique the week of podcasts, and they did a podcast of it. And I mean, I was really impressed. All right, so we'll do that later in the show. It's rough.
I mean, I was shocked at the creativity.
Yeah, same.
Just so you know, my parents
are in prison and doing drugs. Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Well, let's talk about this preseason game. Deuce and Mo. We're coming down in 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast. Deuce Mason alongside Morgan Reagan. Recording this after the Kings fall to 0-2 in the preseason following a loss in Anaheim tonight to the Lakers, 109-101. I don't know why I said it like that. 101. Of course, tonight's podcast presented by our friends over at Northwest Exteriors. Just check out their website, trustnorthwest.com.
Okay, and now we're going to do some talking exercises because you are having issues.
You don't understand. I was actually doing a bit.
Okay, what was the bit?
The bit was, that was my impression of the Kings preseason
doing
game.
a shitty job.
There's some good, there's some bad, some stumbling. That's kind of what.
Okay.
It was a bit.
Hey.
Right?
Good twist.
How you doing?
Yeah. A little shitty, a little good, a little all the things was going on tonight in that game. And I'm with you. We said this early on. We're ready for the regular season to start. But hey, you know what? It was fun because you and I have started to do little previews before every single game. And today we did what to watch out for. And we were like, hey, let's watch out for Sasha Vezenkov, what he's going to do. Hey, He was in the starting lineup.
We mentioned Duarte. We mentioned staggering lineups. We saw a little bit of that tonight. Let's go over what went down for the Sacramento Kings against the LA Lakers. So the Lakers were without Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, and Cam Reddish.
Yes.
The Kings were without Keegan Murray tonight, right thumb soreness. So you're wondering, what are they going to do with the starting lineup? No Keegan. Sasha goes in the starting lineup.
I loved it, especially after everything that just went down this entire week of hey, why didn't Sasha go in until the third quarter in that first preseason game? Hey, why did Mike Brown say, I don't know if he's even going to be in the rotation? He didn't, I'm misquoting him, but said it along those lines. And then we get into game 2 of the preseason and boom, starting lineup.
Oh, there's always overreactions for the preseason. I feel like it's becoming even crazier with the overreactions.
And are you saying around any
I just
team?
think it's sports in general. But I mean,
Sure.
after the first preseason game, if you went on social media, it was like Chris Duarte was the worst player to ever lace up basketball shoes.
Correct.
And then like tonight, he did some good things.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. And then there was obviously the panic. Sasha, what's going to happen with him? Blah, blah, blah. Well, there's some good. There's a lot of bad from Sacramento tonight as well. So let's unpack it all on the podcast.
Yeah, where do you want to start?
Well, I want to start with Sasha being in the starting lineup tonight
you.
with Fox, Herter, Harrison Barnes, and Manis Sabonis. One of the first things they did early, little split action, right? Split action. Fox gets it to Sabonis at the elbow. Fox goes to screen for the shooter. That is Sasha, who pops around a Sabonis screen and launches a 3. Boom.
Beautiful. His 1-3 of the game, 1 of 4 tonight, which it was funny. I even texted you on one of his misses. I was like, it's very strange seeing him miss his shot, just like because of what we have seen from just, videos of him shooting before games. And obviously in the first preseason game, you just see his shots like butter. It's so smooth. But yeah, he was doing a lot of moving out there on the offensive end. And then on the defensive end, he didn't look lost like he did in the first game.
He looked so much better tonight defensively.
Yeah.
And he started on Taurean Prince, who was in the starting lineup for the Lakers. It's not like Taurean Prince is going to torch you nonstop, but he's had some big games in the NBA before.
Sure.
And I thought Sasha held his own. He had a nice, I wrote this down. When was it? In the third quarter, in the second? My notes are pretty bad tonight. How bad are these?
No, I was going to say, how
Here
can
it
you
is.
read that?
I'm okay. This was second quarter. I know this. He had a nice step back, like Dirk-esque shot, mid-range over D'Angelo Russell. The next play, he was great in help.
Okay.
And he drew a charge on Max Christie.
Okay.
And that's what you wanted to see. He wasn't giving up middle. That's what we talked about. Like just being in the right spots. He's such a smart player that I knew he was going to catch on fast. And of course, he's not going up against like LeBron and the Lakers. But for him, it's just about getting adjusted to the NBA speed, the action, some of these players out there. And I thought he had a nice bounce back game defensively.
And then let's talk about the other element to all of that is that he was in the starting lineup with that first unit,
Yes.
right? So you have different pieces around you that are not only better than the next entire unit, but they've been doing it together for a little bit now as a unit. So they trust each other. They talk it up. And then you plug one more guy in who understands basketball at a high level and probably saw what he didn't do in that first game and was like, okay, made those adjustments, was with some better players. Yeah, I like to see it for the second preseason game.
My one criticism of him tonight,
Yeah.
don't pass up shots, man.
Yeah.
Like
just
he had
take
some
it.
looks where it's like, no, shoot it. You are a great shooter. And that's totally him just trying to
Passive,
get
being
his
a teammate.
Like,
Yeah.
I get it. But I know Mike Brown wants him to shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot it, especially when you're in there. But yeah, I mean, offensively, his game is so smooth. You knew he was going to fit right in. And I'm so glad that we got the opportunity to see him play with different units tonight. Mike Brown shifted things where the first game, it was like the starting 5 played together. Some brief moments of staggering, but not much at all. Then it was the second unit. Then it was the third unit. Well, tonight we saw Sasha start the game with the starters. In the second half, we saw Chris Duarte start the game or start the second half with the starters. And then Sasha came in with that second unit. So it felt a little more real tonight where like, okay, some legit staggering for moments of this game. And maybe we'll start seeing that, especially in game 3 of the preseason when they take on the Warriors on Sunday. But yeah, I thought it was a nice bounce back performance for Sasha, especially defensively. I thought offensively last game was like, yeah, he's great. It's going to fit in. I don't have any questions about it. I think all the questions people have had about Sasha have been defensively. And Mike Brown said at practice the other day when he was evaluating Sasha's defense against the Raptors, he called it okay at best, which
it's not
good. Right?
And
But he was way better tonight, in my opinion. The Kings' defense as a whole has been an issue, though. And we always have to drop the it's preseason. Take a shot every time Deuce and Mo say it.
Oh, yeah.
Which only try to say it once tonight.
Yeah.
But, like, they talk so much about being physical, right?
Yeah.
And being locked in and communicating.
They weren't any of those things.
Dude.
At first.
To start the game,
yeah.
One, there's some tough matchups. Herter just got torched by Russell.
Let's talk, because let me just get in there for a second as you go about this, because you're exactly right. With D'Lo, I questioned over the summer, I'm like, well, Gabe Vincent's going to be their starting point guard. You know, I said it so confidently, which Gabe Vincent also
looked awesome tonight.
Looked great tonight, right? But D'Lo was making passes that made these Kings players just look bad. And it made them look bad because guys like Kevin Herter, for example, on one of those first defensive possessions you're talking about, just wasn't seen man, seen ball, right? So D'Lo gets it to his man on the cut, boom, easy 2. And then it happened a few other times because guys just weren't physical and up in D'Lo.
That's a problem, right?
That's a big problem.
I'm not expecting it to be perfect during this time of year. And I get less concerned about missed shots. The Kings, by the way, were 15 of 50 from 3. They were chucking. In fact, all of Malik Monk's shots tonight were from 3. 2 of 9 from 3.
Yeah. Oh, so God.
Guys are just getting shots up. They're missing a ton. Not worried about it. But I just want to see a little more fight defensively. I don't care if it's preseason. And tonight's a great example of that. You're not playing Anthony Davis or LeBron, Austin Reeves.
Yes.
Their normal lineup. The Lakers have a deep team. I think they look they have a lot more depth compared to last year, especially with the moves they made at the end of last season. But I still expect it to be a little more challenging.
Oh yeah, I wanted that from everyone though. I felt like I was like, why aren't people talking to one another? Why aren't people stepping up to the plate and getting up in a guy's jersey? And what I love though is that adjustment was made, and it was made later on in the game. You saw De'Aaron Fox just working on guys, right? With the ball, he was getting up in the ball. Davion Mitchell, he's going to do that. That's just his MO. That's his identity. But De'Aaron started doing that in the second half. And then you saw Domas just being really, really, I don't even want to say physical. He was vertical on so many different defensive possessions when guys were coming down the middle. And he just did a good job of utilizing his body and being the bigger guy in there at times. And they just showed something different with their individual defensive play in that second half.
Yeah, from that group. And then it got bad.
From that group.
Then it got bad with the second unit. The Lakers ended up scoring 40 points in the third quarter. I think the one theme early on in the preseason with the defense that's been most frustrating to me has been transition defense.
Oh, my God.
Morgan, stop ball.
Every time.
I don't this is basic transition defense. And I know for this coaching staff, Mike Brown, he's got to just be furious. What are we doing?
I don't care if it's JaVale McGee. Stop ball.
Right.
If someone's behind you already helping out and making sure that no one else is behind you and going to get it easy too, somebody just stop ball. Communicate, stop ball.
Yeah, and that happened far too many times in the first game against Toronto, and it happened again tonight, especially when that was a point of emphasis, hey, we got to be on it, and it just, the consistency wasn't there. There were stretches where, and that's been the Kings really the last couple of years with this team, going back to last year, is, there's stretches of good defense, and you go, they can do it, but they have not been able to string it together. And for a team that doesn't have a whole bunch of lockdown individual defenders, you got to be engaged, and getting burned in transition, you can't excuse it.
Mental mistakes. You have to be locked in physically and mentally when you're already not a great defender, or when you're not a great defensive team. And Mike Brown wants to talk championship. He knows this team is good. I don't think this team would ever have that mentality of like, we're good so we can relax. I don't think that would ever fly. So I never get that vibe, but I'm like, every single second you are out there, even if it feels like you are putting a lot of energy into preseason, it's only going to make you stronger. It's only going to make you faster. It's only going to make you better.
Yeah. And there's going to just be some defensive breakdowns with some of the new guys in general, because they're still learning the system, trying to remember things. But there was one in the first quarter. JaVale McGee was out in the perimeter trying to deal with Christian Wood, and Wood got by him. And it was an open lane dunk at the rim. And it should have been Chris Duarte stepping up to take that charge, and he didn't. And I could tell McGee was upset. But I give Duarte credit, because after that, I felt like he played a really strong game. Yeah, he's knocking down shots, and seeing him out there with Sabonis was nice, a guy he's comfortable with. But I thought defensively, he showed me a little something too.
He looked more locked in.
Yeah.
And it's crazy what your game can turn into when you are a little bit more locked in. You don't have to be the fastest guy out there, the most athletic guy. But if you are just really engaged and focused on what your job is within that team defense, you're going to see some success. And yeah, it was nice to see him kind of turn that on. And I thought a few guys had turned that on from the first unit, from the second unit. And I'll even say that, like, even when Colby Jones went in, I'm like, I love the way he moves out there on the floor. Mostly I'm talking about defensively. Like when he has the ball, I appreciate him as like even a floor manager, still raw there. But I would say, like, as a defender, you can just tell he is listening to where he needs to be for the most part.
He's just been solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid.
I mean, I don't know how he fits in to the rotation, especially early in the season as a rookie. I mean, I think we're still kind of unclear what they're looking at, right? That's the other thing. We try to figure out these hints, we're at training camp and people are looking at what color jerseys these players may be wearing for this specific game. And then we watch a preseason game and see this one group together, and then the next game you don't see it. It's like they're going to tinker. That's what preseason's for. It's going to be ugly. There's going to be a ton of missed shots. There's going to be some sloppy play. These guys are rusty. Like, you can just expect it. I don't think I've ever watched so much preseason basketball in my life. And I've been watching a lot on League Pass, and I'm like amazed at the sloppiness. I'm like, okay, well, it makes me feel a little better after watching some of these
totally
games. But
does.
it's also like, all right, you want to look better in game 3 than you did game 2.
Yes.
And better than game 1.
I think one of my things I was most disappointed about is once I found out nobody was playing on the Lakers.
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay. I think we even talked. We were like, okay, great. Well, then this should be more of an opportunity for that first unit to show more dominance, right? Like, these aren't they're not all starters in the NBA. I mean, a few of them are, whatever, but they didn't do that. They didn't come in and set the tone. And you're exactly right. Just going off of NBA League Pass and watching all these preseason games, I pretty much always watch Sacramento Kings preseason games every single year. And I'll dabble in some other games. I won't really watch them. This year, watching them more than ever and just comparing, and I'm like, oh, it really is a whole bunch of sloppy basketball. But the number one thing I noticed is the amount of missed threes, the amount of missed shots that all these teams across the league have.
I would prefer the Kings not taking 50 in a game. I do want to see. I get your shots up, and I mean, Alex Len took a 3 tonight, and he's not known for being a 3-point shooter, at least the last few years. I mean, back in the Atlanta days, he was, but I just would rather not see 50. Like, just have a little more balance. Like, part of
Sabonis
it is
took one.
Working some, and I want that. You know, Sabonis took a mid-range shot today. I'm like, good. And then he hesitated on one. I'm like, no, don't pump it. Just shoot it. I don't care if Jackson Hayes is right there. Just shoot the ball with confidence every time.
Why didn't you want Alex Len to try one in preseason?
I don't mind, but
he used to always shoot
that-
threes.
I just said that. I
Yeah.
just mentioned that. I don't need to see the Kings shoot 53s. You know, I just want play like you would in the regular season a little bit. Try some new shit.
Fair.
Take some shots. Like Malik Monk's probably like, I'm just trying to find my shooting stroke in a game. I'm going to launch 9 of them tonight. Fine. Malik Monk still had some like nice moments in the pick and roll with JaVale McGee where you're going, all right, this is going to be a thing. They have instant chemistry and that's great. But I think Malik Monk is so great at attacking the basket. Well, the Lakers don't have a whole bunch of size up there right now. Like, go attack the basket a little bit. You know, get those
things
paint
going.
touches.
Yeah.
I just want to see a little bit more of that.
I'm with you on that. And I think one of the other things that made me excited is when Davion went to the basket. I think that was in the second half. And he like realized he didn't have a layup or whatever.
That's a great pass.
And just lobbed it up to JaVale.
Oh, that one.
He lobbed it up to JaVale McGee like last minute. And it's like, what I love is that there's already that instant connection to JaVale. Like, your lob threat, if we lose something, we're going to throw our garbage to you. And please try and figure it out.
Yeah, Davion didn't knock down his shots tonight. He was 1 of 7, 1 of 5 from 3. And I know that's something we're going to be paying attention to this year because we're like, this is the step he needs to take. But I think running the team, he's looked more comfortable out there. It was that lob.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was last second. McGee seemed kind of slow to roll to the basket, but whatever. He threw it up high. McGee went and got it. But he had another play where he attacked the basket. Defense collapses, and he threw a great pass out to the perimeter. It was a missed 3, but I'm like, okay,
He's seeing the floor.
You're seeing the floor much better. And I think he had the tendency, especially last year, I think he struggled learning the system. And I think there was too much of him holding on to the ball for too long, over dribbling. Yep. And it seems like he's much more comfortable in the preseason.
He's making quick decisions, right? Like, that's why even when I said last minute, it was in his decision making on that, in that moment when he drove to the basket, there was another big coming up on him that committed over to him. And he's like, well, shit, I don't have a layup. So then he just threw, and he's like, I got an open man rolling to the basket. Boom, let me throw it up for him. Jam.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Yes. What is your question?
I don't even know if it's a question. I don't know why I said that. We saw some Sasha at the 3 tonight.
That's a statement.
Okay. I'm just curious what Brown is going to do here because it looks like he played a lineup in the third quarter. It was Mitchell, Monk, Sasha, Lyles, McGee. Obviously, Morgan, we're not going to see all bench lineups out there during the regular season. My point, though, is trying to play him at the 3, Lyles at the 4. I just don't think that's a recipe for success, especially defensively. You know, like Sasha defending some 3s out there. Maybe he's just seeing what it looks like in the preseason. But I think my point to this is one of the challenges Mike Brown's going to have this year is figuring out who the hell to play because of all the guys they have. Like, you know, the starting 5, what it's going to be to start the season. Same as last year. You're playing Monk, right?
Yeah.
You're playing Mitchell.
Yeah.
I would think most nights. Okay. Sasha.
Yeah.
McGee.
Okay.
Lyles.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's 10.
Yeah.
He said he wants to play 9 to 10, and you can't play
There's
all
your
those.
10.
Okay, so Duarte's not playing. I mean, he seems like he likes Duarte too, though. I think Duarte might get some early season run here. So there's 11.
Look though, too, and not to say like that, but it is very common in the NBA for someone to be out with a thumb injury, to have soreness, to have all these things.
I get it.
And my point is that someone like Duarte might not see all those NBA minutes all the time and be in that rotation right away, but like. It's like Davion last year when we were talking about how even if he's coming in for 2 minutes, he has to be ready in the first 5 seconds that he steps on the floor. That's not easy to do for a lot of athletes, right? Like you just have to mentally, physically, everything just be ready. Boom, you got to be ready to dominate. And I think he's starting to realize that he's going to have that short leash. So make sure you do things right. He improved his game. We're already seeing it. And I think that same thing's going to happen a lot more with Chris Duarte. I mean, I'm just saying that right now. Yeah. It can completely change.
Well, he was 4-4, knocked down all of his shots. better defensively, drew an offensive foul. He did a great job on help when a Christian Wood post up in the third quarter. I saw much better signs from him. And like, I think the other thing too is like, he didn't play a lot last year. I know we mentioned that the last podcast. So just him getting out there with a new team, learning guys, that's what the preseason's for, I guess.
But like, what?
I feel like we are talking really in depth on preseason right now, aren't we?
No, I feel like you and I are just having the conversation we would have literally right over there in that corner. I mean, this is like what we talk about on a walk. You know, like this is just what we talk about. We have no lives. But the other thing I was going to say about Chris Duarte, even, it's like even when we talk about we are just analyzing what we see. We're not saying that's going to be the case. It's the same thing that happened with Mike Brown and playing Sasha Vezenkov, not until the third quarter, and then saying a few things. We're going off of what we heard, and then he started tonight. So I think my whole thing too with Chris Duarte, I go, we saw this last year. There could be nights where guys are just off on the road, like Malik is having a chaotic night or whatever, and he's like, F that, benched, boom, go Duarte. He has it in him. Let's see if he has that fire, that energy, whatever.
He's got good size, and if he's knocking down his three, he moves well without the ball. He has that chemistry with Sabonis. You could see why he'd fit in. I know. I when they got him, I was like, well, maybe he's more of that guy in that, that Terrence Davis role. So of last year, where maybe Terrence was kind of that guy where it's like, tonight we need this lift, or okay, he's going to be a regular in the rotation for a stretch. But I just think Mike Brown's going to have some interesting things to decide, and I was interested that he put Sasha in there at the 3 with Lyles and Len, and then Lyles and McGee.
Got to try it all out. That's what preseason's about.
I get it, but like, let's also, that lineup would not work in the regular season. Like,
no,
him at the 3. It just
can't you honestly say, like, depending on the matchup, if you look around the league, like, what's that matchup going to be? But then look, you came into a preseason game tonight where it's like their lineup is just completely different. That happens in this league. And if that's something you can do because certain guys are having off nights or certain guys are a little banged up, then that's great that you can go into your bench, into your depth, and do something like that with your rotation.
Let's give love.
I love combos.
To all the people watching us live right now, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you have not done so yet. How about this, Steve?
Oh, my God.
And it went away.
I
felt it. When I was talking that whole time, it was right there. I was trying to finish my sentence, and then it went away. Damn it.
What a weirdo.
Damn it. Yeah, give us, and also in the chat, we'd love to read some of your comments and questions you guys might have. What did you guys see? What have you guys seen in the first couple of preseason games? I just don't overreact to this stuff. Like, they're not shooting the ball well. Herter has hit like 1 3, I think, now.
Yeah.
I will say this, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Oh, be completely honest. What do you have?
I wrote down 5:02, Herter hits 3 ball, because I'm like, I needed to see that.
Wait, so you wrote it down before it happened?
No, I wrote it.
Oh.
Yeah, I went, 5:02, he's going to hit it. And what do you know? He hit it. Yeah, Morgan.
It's like, wait. So you're just...
My point is, I needed to see... I wrote it down because I'm like, I wouldn't just write down a Herter 3 ball, but I wrote it down because I'm like, that was his first one. And in that moment, I'm like, I needed to see that. Because our last memory of him was, that series against the Warriors.
Yeah. No, and especially just even how his shot changed as the season kept going. I think as teams started to figure him out a little bit more. And I think it's really important. Like, there's still so much value to him and his ability to create on the offensive end, still be that threat from the outside, but to also, like, you look at his DHOs, his mid-range, like, there's so much more to his game that I think there's going to be times where he just has to make sure that he's not just going to be the catch and shoot, rely on that kind of player.
I thought De'Aaron Fox had some nice moments tonight. And one thing that I liked, they ran a little pin down for him, and he popped to the corner for a 3.
Did he make that one?
He did.
Ooh.
Fox had 18 points, 5 assists tonight, 3 rebounds, 6 of 12 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3.
Wow. I like it.
Also, I know it's 2 games. Harrison Barnes has looked a little spry here in the preseason.
Dude,
huh? Doesn't he look a little?
Yes. Again, we do this.
Yes.
Harrison Barnes, poor guy. It always takes a while to get to Harrison Barnes, even though he is consistent. I mean, he played in all 82 games of the regular season last year. Like, you talk about a guy that is there, that is working. And I feel like this year, I don't know, he feels like he could be even taking a little step in his game because he understands, like, there's competition behind him. If he's not doing everything right, like, someone else is going to see those minutes.
Benny on Twitter tweeted me saying, literally 0 minutes of Lyles at the 5 tonight. Can someone ask Mike what his plan is for working this in this season? Like, if it's matchup dependent, I don't know why it wouldn't work against Jackson Hayes and Christie. It was dominant against the freaking Warriors. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Trey Lyles at the 5. And I know they're focused so much on, like, hey, we got to have rim protection. You know, having McGee in there is like a lob threat. But Trey Lyles gives the Kings such a different look, and he's able to space the floor and bring some of these bigs out to try to defend him. He can hit a 3. He can put the ball on the floor and dunk on your head. He did that to Gobert against Minnesota last year. We saw the success he had against Golden State. And then I actually think defensively, that guy competes his ass off.
Yep.
Like, he's not afraid to get physical. He'll take a charge. He'll
He
body guys up.
talks.
He tries to get vertical. He's not going to be blocking shots left and right, but I definitely think the Kings should use Trey Lyles at the 5. To me, that's a no-brainer.
He's strong. Like, he's a super strong guy. And I think you look at that on both ends of the floor. But you were talking a little bit about how he can stretch the floor on the offensive end, and it can even bring out the big because he can be that 3-point threat and everything, which only allows more of an open space for De'Aaron Fox to go to work, right, in the paint and do what he needs to do. So, yeah, I think seeing that there was success with it last season, we're going to see it. But I think Mike Brown already knows kind of what he has with that as well. So it's like we're in the second preseason game.
McGee's got to play, you know, they got to run him out there. Watching him, he looks like he's adjusting to the King style of play of getting up and down the floor. Like, he looked pretty tired in both games as the game went on. And I think, look, he didn't play a ton last year with Dallas, and Dallas wasn't exactly like sprinting up the floor pre-Kyrie trade. You know, I mean, there's a lot of standing around watching Luka do his thing. Some pick and rolls here. It wasn't like that, where the Kings are like, no, we need to run constantly, pace on offense, and get back on defense. Let's go.
I mean, you already know game shape is just such a different shape, and especially with the way this Kings offense plays. Up and down. I mean, there was even a moment tonight, I forget who went from, it was probably De'Aaron, but I forget who it was, that went from rim to rim. And I saw like Sabonis trying to make sure that he's sprinting all the way down so then he could try and get that offensive rebound if it were to miss. And then as soon as it doesn't, and the team's going the Lakers are going the other way, it's just like that quick 2-step sprint back. I mean, you just think about doing one sprint on a basketball court at times, and you think about how much that might tire you out just as like a normal human being.
I mean, you see me running at 10th and P in Sacramento sometimes, you'd be like, wow, this guy's a gazelle. It's nonstop.
A gazelle?
Yeah.
I feel like a
This guy's
cheetah.
unlimited motor.
Okay.
It's crazy.
I mean, and there's like pickup games where you play and then you stop. And they're not, and by the way, they're not NBA paced.
I play at an NBA pace when I'm out there. That's what I do. Everyone else is like getting up and down. No, I'm running. I'm bumping. I'm playing physical.
I love when media members think they're good at basketball. It's so cute.
I didn't even say I was good, but I'm better than any other media member in Sacramento besides Kenny Caraway.
Give him the love he deserers. I love it.
Yeah,
what about besides me? I mean,
Morgan, hey, how about one of these days you come out and play, and then we could talk. I used to play. That's cool that you used to play. There's a lot of people who used to play that can't play anymore. How about you get out and have a run?
Can't really say much to that. Except that my shoulder comes out of the socket, but okay.
Man. Steven Smith says, "Give me Deuce versus Davion 1-on-1." I don't. I mean, I have never seen Davion play basketball.
Does
so
he
I don't
play?
Know. I don't know. That's why I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. So it's hard for me to talk shit. Let's see here. Paul says, "I like Lyles a lot at the 5 while giving McGee spot minutes." Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. Look, I think JaVale McGee can have great chemistry with Malik Monk in the pick and roll. He can block some shots. Like, he's got great size. Once he gets into that game shape of, running with the Kings, I think he'd be really nice. I do think it's a position, though, that depending on the night, yeah, you go to Trey Lyles instead.
You guys, in my opinion,
he's a smart player.
Well, yes, all those things. I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say it's going to be depending on the matchup. And again, you saw it last year. It's going to be depending on who's giving what that night. Mike Brown isn't afraid to be like, next man up. Next man up. You all train for it. Who's ready? Next man up. I mean, last year, I forget what game it was on the road when they had to go to, and love him, but they had to go to Matthew Dellavedova just because like the energy wasn't there. I feel like it was in Houston or something.
Yeah.
Was it?
I don't know, Morgan.
Okay.
Those deli minutes, I kind of blocked out.
That's no Delhi slander here.
I'm not. Deli was a nice contributor at the NBA level for a stretch.
Yep.
Not really last year. It's not. We're not going to do this. I don't understand why you're trying to make me out like a bad guy here.
Because there's no point to it. There's no point to it. And I would just appreciate if
I just said I try to block out some of those minutes. Morgan, it's not a disrespect thing, but if you're going to Delhi for energy.
By the way, and I love this guy too because he's such a good guy, but they weren't Corey Joseph minutes. Like they weren't in Kojo's.
Yes, because they were playing Kojo like 30 minutes a night every night. Man.
It's true. It's true.
We have much more to get to on the podcast. We got to talk about the NBA GM survey. But first, we have to say that tonight's podcast, after every single Kings game, we have a brand new presenting sponsor. Shout out to our friends over at Northwest Exteriors. And check out their website, trustnorthwest.com.
Oh my God. I mean, the most life-changing thing that has ever been done to this home was changing out the windows. And for years, I didn't know that was the reason why I was losing so much money on my energy bills. I didn't realize that it was going to make my house look brand new and charming and perfect. So I wish I knew that stuff. And I'm really glad that Northwest came into my life. But I'm telling you guys, if for some reason you're like, my house needs an update, or why is it not staying hot in here when I have the heater on? You should check out those windows. And Northwest Exteriors has the best people with the best knowledge of all the things you might need.
Yeah, thanks for letting me talk about them
sorry.
too. Okay, I have some things to say about them.
What do you...
Look, they don't have subcontractors. They've got people been working there for years and years. They come out to your house and do amazing work. Great people.
So good.
New windows is life-changing. So look at your windows. If you got like some single pane, it's got to go. You're going to save money on your energy bills. It's going to be quieter, noise reduction. It's a game changer. So if you're in the market for new windows, check out Northwest Exteriors and their website, trustnorthwest.com. Sing it with me. Let's go.
Simply the best. Trust Northwest.
I didn't know that you actually cut it. Good job.
I had it right this time.
Oh, it sounds so good. I love it.
We're also presented by a New York Times bestselling author, the one and only T.R. Reagan.
T.R. Reagan.
If you need to read a dark, a twisted thriller, this is the perfect way to go. T.R. Reagan is dark. She's disgusting.
Yeah.
And you will love her books.
Yeah, and Halloween's coming around the corner. And so if you're looking to feel a little bit more scared, go check out our books. Like, they're scarier than shit. And sometimes I wish I didn't read them because now I have nightmares. But if you want nightmares too, make sure to check them out. trreagan.com, or go to amazon.com and search TR Reagan.
And one last thing we have to shout out.
Oh, yeah.
We
Oh my
do
gosh.
have a Patreon.
Patreon.
If you go to patreon.com/Deuce and Mo, you could support the show. In fact, we
I'm
dropped...
not caught up at all.
That's our interview that I was playing that we dropped early for Patreon members. check that out. It's with Howard Beck from The Ringer. We dropped out a couple days early. We dropped exclusive content there. We have monthly Q&As for members only, merch discounts, and more. Just go to patreon.com/Deuce and Mo.
Thank you for the support. It means the world.
All right, Morgan Reagan, next up for the Sacramento Kings.
Yes.
They will be at home for the preseason. First preseason home game is coming up Sunday night.
Ooh.
Kings
And
and Warriors.
There should be a fun show on before that, too.
Before the show?
I'm
before the game?
Pretty sure before or after.
Yes, and that game's going to be on NBC Sports California. For all those who don't know, that game will be on NBC Sports California. So you don't have to find some stream or some illegal feed or do whatever you got to do.
You can do
it right. Watch on NBC Sports California.
Yeah. So excited for that. Excited for them to be home. I'm sure we'll both be there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how this basketball season thing works.
I am interested to see how Mike Brown works the lineups. I play your starters. They played, he said going into tonight, they were going to play 18 to 24 minutes, and that's kind of what he did. I think the most the starter played was 24 minutes. So I would like to see the guys get a little more run. I want to keep that similar theme, you know?
And it's against the Warriors, right? Yeah. So I think game 3 of the preseason, it's like you said, are you going to see things a little bit more tightened up into what they want to see going into the regular season? I don't know what all these teams' strategies are, especially when they don't play a guy or when they do play a guy. But either way, yeah, I'm excited to just see it back on the home floor.
You guys want to hear what Mike Brown had to say after the game tonight? How much do you think he talked about the defense? Or do you think it's like, oh, we're still learning? Was he nice tonight? Was he okay or just balanced?
I'm going to say he was not happy, not mad, so just in between.
All right, here's Mike Brown from the Kings YouTube page.
I thought there were times that we moved the ball, we executed very well, and when we did, the game was really easy for us. And then there were other times, a lot of other times where we didn't. Offensively, I thought we got a little impatient during the course of the game, which showed in, tough shots and or bad spacing. So that's what I saw offensively. And I think then defensively, we have to figure out a way to make our opponent feel us. I thought that defensively, they just played too comfortable most of the game. D'Lo, he came off of pick and rolls and shot the ball like he was playing horse, at times. And so we have to do a better job of trying to get to the ball and being physical without fouling or sending them to the free throw line, because we didn't do a good job of it tonight.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mike, where does the team go from here with getting to that physicality that you're looking for without the balance?
It's us continuing to coach. It's a long season, and we're 2 games into the preseason, and we haven't played up to the standard that I know that I'd like to, and I'm sure everybody in that locker room as well. So we have to keep showing it on film. We have to keep preaching it, and at the end of the day, if we can't get certain guys to do it, that's where you find that. That's where you shorten and figure out what your rotation is, who's going to play, at the end of the day. And so we need to get it on both ends of the floor from everybody that we put out there the right way.
Mike, you started Sasha in the first half,
Yeah.
and Chris in the second. What'd you see from those 2 guys?
I thought they were pretty good. I thought Chris, you could feel him defensively. He was pretty good. He was pretty active defensively. He got a couple of deflections. I don't think he allowed the ball to be blown by him at all. And I thought, I thought offensively they both played fairly well. Just off my recollection without watching the film, Jake.
Coach, what'd you see out of the Aaron tonight?
Foxy's he's going to be okay. I thought he was pretty good defensively. And then offensively, he's shown the ability to get to the spots that he wants to get to. So I again, without my recollection on it is without me watching the film, I thought he was pretty good on both ends of the floor.
How about the transition defense? That was an emphasis for you. Were you more pleased or less with that?
Yeah, it was a little better tonight than the night before. That I thought was better, and then obviously our fouling was too. We also did a great job using verticality on drives a couple of times, even in transition, where we just went vertical and didn't foul, and so to see those things, pretty good. But that was an emphasis that we wanted to put in place from the first game is our transition defense, and I got guys did a pretty good job with it.
What will you focus on, say tomorrow when you guys get back in the gym?
Well, we'll probably watch the clips from tonight, and we'll see why the game was so easy for them, for the Lakers, and again, a lot of it was pick and roll situations or not getting to a body, especially when a guy is labeled as hot, and allowing them to shoot real comfortably. So our on-ball defense, whether it's in a pick and roll situation or a closeout or a one-on-one, is going to be something we'll take a look at.
All right, there's Mike Brown after this game tonight. The one thing I do disagree with was him talking about the transition defense. He's right in this from the standpoint that at times they did a good job at being vertical, but they didn't stop ball. And that's the thing. I'm sorry. Like you have to stop the ball in transition.
Here's the thing. He compared it to the preseason game 1,
You're right, that was
where
really
it was
bad.
atrocious.
Yeah.
So it was better. And I mean, they're still, again, they have to communicate, Deuce, who has to pick up ball.
Yeah.
They don't know each other. Or there's a few guys out there that still are learning and getting to know each other.
That's fair. And then he talked about D'Lo was, man, he just got to his spots tonight. And yeah, the pick and roll, but they did such a good job, the guards, even Gabe Vincent, of just pushing the pace and getting in the early offense. And you're getting the defense on their heels. There's cross matches everywhere. And then those guys hit some really nice shots. I thought Gabe Vincent hit some tough shots, but he also just got to his spots. And that's the thing. You can't let these guys, especially someone like D'Angelo Russell, who can get it going and be red hot. He's like the ultimate Kings killer. You can't let him get that confident.
The best thing that Mike Brown said was we didn't make these guys feel us tonight, because I think there was some physicality there, all those things. But when I was trying to even explain what Domas did well a few times in the paint, he made his presence felt.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it was just being vertical. And then there's times when guys picked it up, especially in that second half, where they were like, oh no, we're going to make sure they know that I understand that this guy's backdooring, or I'm going to bump him as he comes through the paint. So yeah, it improved.
All right, 2 games in. If you had a panic button out about anything, would you even?
No.
If you had a panic button for the defense, would you be hitting it?
Nope.
Rebounding?
You know my thing every year, 15, 20 games. That's when I really that is when, and I think that's a lot of people's way of measuring a team, or allowing them to really figure out their identity, their rotations, who they want to be as a team. And look, the Kings, like we've talked about many times, their defense looked really good in the playoffs. And it did not look good at home, and it didn't look great for a lot of the season. So that's why this year, being together, 15, 20 games in, let's see.
Another thing that Mike Brown mentioned, he was talking about Chris Duarte, and he loved his defense.
Yeah.
And he thought his offense was really good. That's what I'm saying. If Chris Duarte is playing defense and he's knocking down a shot, he's playing. He's in the rotation. That means someone's not playing, is my whole point. You can't play all these guys. And that's what's going to be interesting for Mike Brown to start figuring out.
Great problem to have.
It is. I'm looking also at a couple things tonight. You expect turnovers in the preseason, 16 turnovers for the Kings. I feel like Malik Monk's just been a little sloppy with the ball the first 2 games, but
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Get it out of your system. I mean, it's the same thing like Mike Brown just said about De'Aaron Fox. Like, he'll be fine. Like, he'll figure it out. Whatever he's got to do.
All right, we got to get to this. So, Morgan's parents, they sent a video and they did like their own podcast structured like ours, but literally critiquing what we did in the last podcast.
Yeah, what they liked and they didn't like about it. And then they tried taking bits from us and just imitating us.
So we're going to play some of it? Should we play some of it?
Just some of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you want to play all of it? Is it too cringy for you to watch?
It's just like, I mean, they made it for us.
Well, don't send it. Because guess what? We're playing some of it. We'll play some of it.
Yeah.
Deal with it. You send it. Hey, if you're brave enough to get on video and roast, it's okay. We'll play it for the people.
Let's.
I'm going to fast forward.
Oh, wait. That's
You want the song in there?
a little bit.
All right, here we go.
Wait, just a little bit.
Trees and Joe. Trees and Joe. Teresa and Joe.
He's going to kill us.
Podcast about Deuce and Mo. Teresa and Joe. Teresa and Joe. Teresa and Joe. They'll tell you what they know.
I can't believe they did photos. And a photo of us behind them.
Hello, and we are alive.
This isn't a real shot.
What are you doing?
Tequila, little tequila to celebrate.
Oh,
She would be dying.
we are a podcast about the Deuce and Mo podcast.
It's preseason. We don't want to say that too much.
No, it's preseason, and as it is preseason, we're going to be doing a little preseason stuff.
Talk about Deuce and Mo.
About the preseason show, actually.
Starting with, what did you think about their new sponsor? The windows.
Oh my God.
I
So
love
funny.
the windows, love the Northwest.
Thanks.
We have a sponsor.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I think there's
Marathon.
Dead.
Marathon toilet paper.
Dead.
When you got to wipe, use Marathon.
All right.
She has her glasses on. so-
I missed you guys, all our fans out there. Did you know we have 1 million subscribers? I just looked.
That is
1 million subscribers.
You want to keep going? No. Okay, all right. So there's a brief. This goes on for another 2 minutes, pretty much.
Another 2 minutes, and it's dead on to what we do, which then made me reflect on what we do, and I was like, oh shit. Do we need to change some things?
Yeah, here's the one thing I need to change, and I'm more than aware of it. It's really hard to balance like talking and chatting with people because we try to be interactive when we're live like this. We want to talk to people, and it is challenging, like reading stuff and like, all right, Morgan's making a point here. Oh, we got this sound. Mike Brown, is it ready? Just a lot of stuff we're juggling, and I know I'm always like looking at the chat sometimes,
just like he is right now. Oh yeah, and that's why if you ever see me do like I'll do like a swipe because I know he's reading something, and I'm like, nope, you need to hear this point. You need to hear this point.
The chat rave reviews for your parents, by the way.
Wow.
Mark says, I think I'd rather watch a couple hours of Mom and Dad than the Kings tonight. Cute.
Yeah. Kind of shitty basketball.
The end says the Deuce impersonation is identical.
We are alive.
Adrian says they're sitting on the wrong side, though.
Great
Jake
point.
said cringe.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't like that comment from Jake.
I mean, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
They're just giving their critiques.
Yeah. Let's get some more comments. God's love be with you says Sasha is super slow. I actually saw him play for the first time. He moves like a sloth. I didn't expect to read that. Yeah, he's not gonna blow you. He's not gonna be blowing by guys. Blowing by guys.
I hope
Blowing by.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not like a freak athlete, but he's a smart player, and he moves well without the ball. Great shooter. I like his game.
Yeah.
Big fan of his game.
There was even a moment in transition when I think he made the two and then fell to the ground on the baseline. And it just felt like it took him like a second longer than most to get up. And I was like, all right, these are the little things that like I think he's going to become a better player just being here. I think he's going to become a faster and stronger player just being here. I mean, you saw it last year for a lot of guys as well.
You know, I just love how I mess up one thing on the chat and the chat just jumps me.
I mean, it was bad.
I want to get
Or
your
a lot.
thoughts on the NBA GM survey in a second, but going into Kings Warriors, I really hope the Warriors play their guys too.
Same. Absolutely. I mean, that's the best thing that could happen for the Kings to really learn, make adjustments early on, right? Draymond's still out.
Yeah, Draymond's going to be out for a minute.
So it's like, yeah, you could only hope that that's the way that Steve Kerr goes.
The NBA GM survey came out, and the Kings did get some mentions about the offense, which was which head coach runs the best offense. The GM surveyed said number 1, Mike Brown.
Wow.
Sacramento Kings, he got 33% of the vote. Steve Kerr, 23%. Mike Malone, 17%. Also, who is the best assistant coach in the NBA? Jordy Fernandez, the Sacramento Kings. He got 31% of the votes from the GMs who are all trying to like hire the guy next year.
Yeah. They're like, I voted for you. Do you think they text him that? Like, I voted for you.
They totally did that. Which team is the most fun to watch? Number 1, the Denver Nuggets, 30%.
Okay.
The Warriors at 23%. Sacramento at 20%.
Okay. I mean, that's great for Sacramento. Sacramento never gets that love.
Yeah, but
Oh, stop.
should be a little higher.
That's because you enjoyed it so much. Stop it.
Which team has the best home court advantage? Number 1, Denver.
Really?
I feel like that is more based on the elevation than the actual fans there.
Okay.
And I think Denver has good fans, but I don't ever go, man, this is crazy. But it's hard to play there because it's a mile high.
Okay.
Number 2, the Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry, not at Chase Center.
That
That's
is
too
interesting
high.
to me.
It's too high.
I agree.
Chase Center. I was at playoff games last year in San Francisco. The crowd,
Not impressed.
The crowd wasn't that great.
Dude, Steph had to literally do this.
Steph
to
was
the
baking.
crowd.
At one point,
He was like, I am putting on a show.
He went to the bench, grabbed a bag, and it was full of money. He was handing out cash. Stand up, stand up.
And all these rich people were like, I already make
they're
enough money.
we make a lot of money. I'm sitting
Yeah.
courtside. Like, what are you
Like,
saying?
I'm good, sweetie.
I paid millions for this.
Yeah.
So it went Nuggets, Warriors, Kings, number 3 at 13%.
And I love that the Jazz are right underneath the Kings because that's all they got. So they are going to have mostly a good atmosphere because there's always going to be people there watching these games when there's not to act like there's nothing to do in Utah, but like,
Yeah, they're an obnoxious home court advantage for sure. Celtics, Knicks, Raptors tied for 5th. Which team will have the most efficient offense this season? Number 1, the Denver Nuggets. Number 2, the Sacramento Kings, according to NBA GMs. So
efficient offense.
GMs are still buying that the Kings are going to be super efficient.
Okay.
One of the funniest ones. Which player is the fastest with the ball? De'Aaron Fox voted number 1, 57%.
Okay.
Ja Morant, 37%.
Where's SGA?
Last year, Morgan,
Yeah.
Ja Morant got 62% of the vote. So what, De'Aaron Fox just got like 20 million times faster last year, according to these GMs? Like, the guy's been fast forever. And now he gets it because they had a good season.
Translated into W's.
And Ja Morant got slower. He's not the fastest with the ball. 62% said he was fast with the ball the year before. This year, it drops to 37.
It's
so weird to me.
Well, it's in. Yeah. Whatever.
So those were the Kings mentions on the NBA GM survey.
Yeah, it was. I guess altogether, it was cool seeing the Kings high in a lot of those categories.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. Because we have been on the other end of shit for so many years now that I think it's really nice to have the perspective to like go, oh, it's cool that other people are enjoying this style of basketball, enjoying some of these individuals, some of these coaches and this coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun style.
It's cool just being recognized, though.
It is. I also joke about the NBA GM survey every year because there is zero chance to me that, and look, John Schumann at NBA.com does a great job. I don't know how he puts the survey out, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that like Brad Stevens isn't like, hey, come back in 20, Joe Mazzulla. I got to fill out this NBA GM survey. Like, do you think Monty McNair is you think he's filling out this NBA GM survey?
He like went to like Princeton, so maybe.
My point is, you think
scholar.
all of the league's 30 NBA general managers, they run an NBA front office like, let's fill out this survey. Okay. It's like
I think some people give a shit, but also if you looked at like the Kings front office, they also have people surrounding Monty McNair that are more than capable of like legitimately filling that out, like at a fair
yeah, sure. But I'm just saying we call it a GM survey, and I just don't buy that. It's like legit the GM's putting it together is my point.
Yeah.
Also, the NBA came out with their top 100 list. They're like unveiling it. They still are going to announce their final 10. But Kings fans took note of this. Let's see, I want to make sure I opened up the right one because I didn't think it was like this. Oh, yeah. Okay, here it is. Okay, this is funny. So this is what ESPN put out today. Number 23, De'Aaron Fox.
Okay,
cool. Last year he's ranked 54th, so he jumps pretty high. Why did he rise? 31 spots. He said Fox's huge year helped propel him in our rankings. Also didn't hurt that Sabonis, Herter, Barnes, Murray, and Monk. The Kings were the most complete team Fox has played with during his tenure in Sacramento, led to snapping a 16-year drought, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
The next player, Domantas Sabonis, who was 47 the year before that, listed him at power forward. Interesting, because I don't think he played power forward at all last year. He is a center with the Sacramento Kings.
Interesting.
Casuals.
Hey. But then the next person.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Look at that. Good for him.
Morgan.
What?
I like how you said that. Like,
what?
This was an intentional play by ESPN. You're telling me they go Fox, Sabonis, Halliburton in a row. Morgan, Fox, Sabonis, Halliburton.
So literally them just putting PF by Sabonis's name is like someone's name being Michael and they're calling him Michael or something. You know what I mean? It's like it's getting their name right. They're putting him there, but here, let me put a little spin. I'm not going to get your position right, and I'm going to put the guy you were traded for right above you.
Yeah, it's just
funny.
trying to get a reaction.
I
It's
like the
funny.
drama.
Whatever. They're all good players.
I
don't get caught up in the rankings. That's what's they put these out before the season. They're like, we got to get people excited about it. Let's get the fan bases revved up and go to our website. What do? Hey, let's put Fox and Sabonis, Halliburton next to each other. That'll get the NBA world talking. They'll talk about that trade again and who won the trade. And then it'll make Kings fans mad, and they'll retweet it. Like, let's do it. That's what I imagine is being talked about when they're coming up with these ideas.
It's just a click world. It's not like an actual. God, I'll never forget too when we were asked by some people to like do some clickbait shit over the summer.
Yes.
And we were like, no.
The end says Sabonis is listed at power forward because that's his natural position. If Sabonis wingspan was 7'4", he'd be listed as center. Yeah, but he's a center. I mean, I think that's his best position. You say his power forward's his natural position. I mean, he's not going to guard some of these fours out there. And to me, he's a 5. It's no doubt about it. He's a 5. Obviously, if he was longer, that would be better because he could block some shots. He's got a 6'11" wingspan, and that limits him. That's why the verticality is so big, being able to take contact, draw some charges. So, anyway, what other thoughts do you have before we get out of here, Mo?
I just give me some starters from the Warriors. Give me the starters from the Kings. Give me 10 minutes of decent basketball for the third preseason game, and then the rest. I think for us, it's like. We'll do a little preview going into Sunday's game, but at the same time, like, I think we're going to be looking at a lot of the same things again, except with a different perspective of what Sasha's capable of what Chris Duarte's capable of. Can Malik Monk clean it up? You know, like those things, just because it's preseason, I'm not taking it too serious, but I'm excited to see.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some extra energy in the building. I know people are excited about this team in Sacramento. It's their first chance to see them since Game 7. It is the Warriors that, there's a chance that Steph plays and CP3 and Clay.
Yeah.
Bring it on Sunday.
I'm here for it.
Of course,
Sunday.
we are live after every Kings game. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Before you go, make sure to hit the thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcast, make sure you're subscribed there and give us 5-star ratings. All it does is help our channel continue to grow. We are dropping content every single day. We should also note that the Howard Beck interview we did today that came out for Patreon supporters and YouTube members, that will be out for everyone Friday.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, just an exclusive early drop for those members, and then it will be out for everyone as well. But like you said, we got more and more content coming, so thank you for following it, supporting us. We appreciate it.
We love you guys so much, but we got to go.
You'll have one of the rest of your night. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.